मोबाइल से कर दीजिए ना।
कंट्रोल ऊपर दिया हुआ है ना मैम, लाइव वहां से कर रहा है ना, तो मैं लाइव मोबाइल को कंट्रोल ले लूंगा, फिर वो कैसे करेंगे? एक चक्कर नहीं है, 3-4 चीजें हो गई ना।
अच्छा रहने दीजिए फिर मैं
अब जा रहा हूँ।
Hello, am I audible to all?
मैम
Okay, thank
Hi.
you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, is it Ruma?
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible, Ruma. You are able to listen me? उसे नहीं सुनाई दे रहा है, उसे नहीं सुनाई दे रहा है। Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, Dr. Ambri.
Yes, I am checking it with the speaker. Actually, she's not able to hear me.
Sure.
जबकि मैंने उसके साथ एक डेमो प्रैक्टिस
Hi. हाँ बस एक okay. Yeah.
कब दिखाएं इसको?
Hello, am I audible, Ruma?
Yeah.
Is it working?
No, I've just removed it, so I shall join from the laptop only.
Okay, fine. So are you ready? We can start with it then. वो तो कर लिया।
Hello. Yeah, just joining in 2 minutes, removing the iPods and connecting the laptop speaker. So it's taking a while. Just joining in. No, I will just join on the laptop speaker. I just not starting it. You can see the app open that. Just open that app and move on. Yeah, shall we start? Am I audible? Amri, can you just speak because I can't hear?
Yeah, you are audible, ma'am.
Hi.
Yeah, audible.
Yeah, so sorry for the technical glitch at the last moment.
It's okay. I think we can start it. I would request all of you to please mute yourself. Yoga is a light which once lit will never dim. The better you practice, the brighter the flame. A very good afternoon to all the participants and the dignitaries from the various spheres of life. I would like to pay a heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for being part of this webinar. Today, from sunrise in the Far East to the sunset in the furthest corner of the Western Hemisphere, people will join this great celebration of Yoga Day. We at Asia Pacific Institute of Management is celebrating the day through this webinar, which I ensure is going to be very enlightening for all of us. Before moving further, I would request our Honorable Director, Sir, of Asia Pacific Institute of Management, Dr. Rajesh Arora, to share his insightful words on today's session of yoga, meditation, and self-awareness. Dr. Arora is a management professional with a complete focus on human capital management. He has trained 100,000 people in the last 25 years in the multiple industries vertical. And he was the chairman of India's Management Thought and Practice course at University of Mumbai. Sir, I would request you to please share your thoughts.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Am I audible to everyone? Dr.
Yes,
Amri,
sir,
am I
you're
audible?
audible. Yes, sir, you're audible.
Thank you so much. Shubham Karoti Kalyanam, Arogya Dhan Sampada, Shatrabuddhi Vinashaya, Deepam Jyoti Namastute, Deepa Jyoti Parabrahma, Deepa Jyoti Janardanam, Deepu Hartu Me Papa, Deepo Deva Namastute. I am really thankful to Ms. Ruma Tomar, Mindful and Life Coach, and Bala Iyer Saab, who is founder of Classical Yoga Niti, for accepting our request for conducting this webinar on yoga and meditation and self-awareness. I think in this session today, we are going to get that light of knowledge inside us. It's a time for us to reflect, sit back, relax, and practice. At times in life, we see there are lots of conflicts internally and externally. It's important for us to see that how do we resolve those issues with inner peace and tranquility. How about if the organs of our body does not work in complete alignment? I think that's yoga is all about, that it unites us internally. But if the organs are not united well, obviously we feel some kind of discomfort and dis-ease. And that is what I'm sure today's session will throw the light for it. I always see the human body in three perspectives: the body, the mind, and the intellect. Many times when we interact with people, we see the body and the mind is in coordination, but not the intellect. And sometimes the intellect and the body, but not the mind. And sometimes the mind and the intellect, but not the body. I'm very confident that after today's session, all the people who are attending here will get the benefit of integrating the body, the mind, and intellect so that we can kaizen ourselves all the time and improve our not only the emotional health, physical health, mental health, but also spiritual health. I also want to thank Dr. Amri for taking this initiative and organizing this seminar. And I wish everyone good luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Moving further, I would like to welcome our first speaker, Ruma Gayatri Tomar. Ruma Gayatri Tomar emerges as an authority in the field of life coaching with a unique specialization in divine meditation, EFT, and neuroplasticity. Her unconventional journey straddling the worlds of genetic engineering and business management with an MBA lends her an extraordinary perspective. This fusion of scientific acumen and spiritual sagacity creates a dynamic and insightful coaching style. In the realm of human potential, Ruma Gayatri Tomar stands as a beacon. Her primary proficiency lies in assisting individuals to fathom the depths of their vast capabilities and achieve an all-encompassing balance. Emancipated from the shackles of stress and psychological duress, her clientele comprises a diverse group spanning from medical professionals to startup founders, corporate professionals, and students. Possessing a rich reservoir of experience from 8 tumultuous years in the corporate battlefield, Rima comprehends the tribulation and pressure synonymous with relentless, high-stress work atmosphere. With this empathetic understanding, she is adept at steering her clients towards a path of self-realization, emboldening them the effective, positive, enduring transformation in their lives. Her methodology, a marriage of compassion and intuition, helps individuals strike a melodious chord between their personal and professional lives, engendering holistic well-being and prosperity. I wholeheartedly welcome you, Ruma, and now it's all up to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amri, for your kind words. I will call you Amri because I know you from many, many years. Thank you so much, Aurora sir, for inviting me on this very, very auspicious day of International Yoga. I would like to keep the session. I'll just brief how I'm planning the structure of the session. For 30 minutes, I will speak about the important topic which we have chosen for today, which is the self-awareness. And after 30 minutes, I shall be sharing some very, very powerful meditative tools, meditative exercises, which can help us to stay aware, which can bring the scattered energy of ours to ourselves. So let's start. Self-awareness, exploring your true potential through mindfulness. Now, if someone asks us, what is awareness? Are we aware? Or what is self-awareness? We are majorly conditioned beings. So awareness is also in the present reality, in the present realm, very, very conditioned. If someone asks us, are we aware? At times, we do not know exactly what awareness means. We will say that, yes, we are aware. Then someone will ask who we are. Who are we? Then we will say, okay, my name is this and this. I am this and this person. I belong to this place. I have studied. You will tell about your qualifications. You will tell about your occupation, and so forth, and so many things. But in actuality, are we aware? So if we talk about self-awareness, what is self-awareness? It is a very, very simple thing. Just to be present if we don't go by a very definitive language, self-awareness is just to be here, to be right now in the present moment, to be not either in the past nor in the future. Self-awareness is the ability to introspectively observe and understand oneself, one's thoughts, one's emotions, one's beliefs and actions. It involves a deep sense of consciousness and reflection upon your existence, both externally and internally. In present scenario, if we see, we are externally extremely aware, but we are not aware internally. What are we inside? What is our external journey? What is our external message? It is through self-awareness that we gain insight into our true nature, true desires, and true purpose of life. So if we see there is not a balance which is struck here. If we see most of our journey, and in today's world, we see that externally we are very much aware. Externally, awareness, I would call it conditioned or an identity. Again, are we aware? We will go into this later. First, let me explain you what I meant by conditioning. Awareness versus identity. So generally, when we say that, we are aware, we know who we are. We talk about the identity, our social conditioning. What is our identity? That I am this person, I am tall, I am dark, or I'm fair, or I belong to this caste, this community, I have done this education, I work in this company. This is all identity, which has given us an external validation. I won't call that identity is completely incorrect, or we should not go by identity, because identity itself holds a very, very important place in our being, but not completely depending on the identity, not completely depending on the external factors. Why? Because we identify ourselves with our job. What if we lose the job one day? Then our identity is gone. Then we are completely helpless because, oh, my identity was that job. Oh, my identity was that relationship. Oh, my identity was that exam if I would have cleared. So we have, set benchmarks for us, societal benchmarks, that this is your identity. You have to fit in the box of this identity. However, if we talk about awareness, awareness is completely free. Awareness will not have any demarcation. Awareness will be very simplified. It will just know that there are three realms: your mind, your body, your spirit. What I am this body, but I am not exactly this body. I delve in this body. My mind is a part of my body. Mind does not hold that governance which I give it to it. I should control my mind. This comes from awareness. So who am I? I am the soul that the part of divine which delves in this body, the representation of the supreme being, which is indestructible. So this is the difference between awareness and identity. Awareness is a state of being conscious and attentive and present in the current moment. It is about perceiving your emotions, sensations, environment without judgment. Please note, without judgment. Here, when we are aware, we do not judge, because we know that if we judge, we have some part to be healed. Identity, on the other hand, refers to a collection of characteristics, beliefs, values, experiences, everything which is being conditioned by the society, by our culture, our personal experiences, our gender identities, etc. The difference between awareness Now, how do we know that we are mindfully aware? If we are consciously present in the moment without judgment, if something has happened and we are not judging it, but in past we have had a pattern of judging people. But in present, if we are aware, if we have been practicing awareness, we have stopped the judgment part. Then we will know that we are aware. We are completely focused on here and now, letting go of past and future. I have seen a very, very basic pattern in the students of mine and the clients of mine, that the major challenge is that they're either stuck in their past traumas, they're not able to come out of it, or they are too much apprehensive about their future concerns. But when they are aware, when you start practicing mindfully, your exercises, your meditative practices, what happens? You have to come back. You have to be in now. And your brain, your body, your mind, your spirit, everything comes back to present. Cultivate a non-reactive and accepting attitude towards thoughts and emotions. When we are not aware, when we are a non-aware being, what happens? That if there is any emotion or any trigger or any thought of past which comes to us as a trigger, we react spontaneously. Even if that particular thing is not happening, that has already happened, we have given our inner extreme energy to something, some trauma in the past. But whenever the memory of that trauma comes, we react. We are not able to control our emotions. So that is again a sign of non-awareness. If we are aware, we will be able to control our attitude towards our thoughts and emotions. Engage the sense to anchor yourself in the present experience. How do we know we are aware? If we engage all our senses, what happens these days? When we are eating, we are watching television, we are scrolling our phone. When we are doing something, we are listening to someone, but we are not present there completely. We are thinking about something else while listening. We never engage all our five senses completely into doing something. Our eyes, our ears, our sense of smell, our sense of talking, our sense of touch. No, every sense organ is scattered. Some are in the past, some are in the present, some are dreaming. So that is a sign of non-awareness. When you are aware, you use all your senses rightly. And then what happens? Your senses anchor. They help you. They find answers to you. You start behaving like an intuitive being. Intuition starts developing. You become more compassionate towards others. Practicing redirecting your attention back to present. What happens? Our mind, मन बहुत चंचल होता है. ये आप सबने सुना होगा. तो मन क्या होता है? बार बार भागता रहेगा. बट अगर हम अवेयर हैं, हम कॉन्शियस हैं, तो हम बहुत ही ग्रेसफुली we can bring back the consciousness, we can bring back the awareness to the present moment. That is the sign of being mindfully aware. Significance of awareness. There are plenty of significances which I could not fit in this limited space, but some of the very, very important significances are, firstly, self-understanding. Awareness allows us to gain deeper insights into your thoughts, your emotions, patterns of behavior. चलिए मैं ये मानती हूँ कि कुछ लोगों को अपने बारे में बहुत जानकारी होगी. हम बहुत अच्छी किताबें पढ़ते हैं जिसके कारण हमें बहुत सारी जानकारी अपने बारे में होने लगती है. But being fully aware, being fully understanding who you are as a person, what are your triggers, what are your behavior patterns, आपको ये challenges, अगर certain challenges आ रहे हैं life में तो वो क्यों आ रहे हैं, वो जानने की क्षमता कैसे आएगी? Awareness से, कि मुझे इस बात से trigger क्यों होता है. There are lot many things which we are not able to answer. Why? Because we don't know, we are not aware. Once you are aware, you will know, okay, fine. This is the challenge. This has happened in past, and that is why this pattern of behavior is showing in present. Once you are aware, you are able to solve that pattern of yours. You are able to help yourself. Secondly, emotional regulation. We all are emotional beings. Some are more, some are less, but we are driven by emotions. Now, emotional regulation helps us in promoting emotional well-being and balance. It is very important because at times when there are situations where we have to regulate our emotions, we have to act in a very balanced way. but we are not able to do that. Then self-awareness comes into being. Once you're aware, you know how to control your emotions. We don't say that you don't have to be emotional. You can be emotional. Emotions are a very, very beautiful thing, I feel. You can be vulnerable, you can be soft, you can be weak, you can be everything. You can hurt, you can be angry. But moderation is the key. How will that moderation occur? By being self aware. Stress reduction, a very, very, very challenging situation, a very, very challenging topic in present world. I think every second person has stress. Once we are aware, we understand our thoughts and reactions. So we can identify and manage the stress triggers. We are aware that, okay, certain things will give me stress. But being aware, I know that the stress is temporary. As the situation is temporary, the stress is also temporary. And thus, with awareness, I can control these stress triggers. Improved focus and concentration, that is very obvious. For students, for working people, for everyone, we have to, how do we cultivate that focus and concentration? By engaging our organs, our sense organs, by being present completely, ability to sustain attention, improving focus, productivity, and performance in various tasks. Also, enhanced relationships. Obviously, if we are aware, if we act from the seat of self awareness, we will be compassionate towards the people we are related to. We will understand, we will empathize, we will give them more time, we will give them more years. So the communication will improve effectively, fostering a stronger and meaningful bond. So when we come into the realm of self awareness, we understand that fine, no one is perfect. I might have my flaws, the other person might have their flaws. And this is how I will be compassionate and empathize towards myself and others. It's not just the kindness towards others. Firstly, the responsibility, the very first responsibility of every being is toward themselves. So I will be kinder to myself, and at the same time, I will be kinder to the other person as well. And that is how we can improvise, enhance, and build strong bonds. Increased self-compassion, as I said, that we have once we are aware, will be more kind. There have been many instances where I see people continuously engaged in self-criticism, in lowering their self-esteem, their self-worth. Something happened, they could not do their best as per their standard, because there's no one who can set standard. As per someone's standard, that person could not perform in a certain way, and that person continuously kept criticizing. After self-criticism, what happened? He or she developed unworthiness, lower self-esteem, followed by low self-confidence. I am good for nothing. मेरे साथ तो ऐसा ही होता है. I am unworthy. I am unlucky, and so many things. From where does this come? Because we are not kind to ourselves. We are not compassionate to ourselves. We are seeing ourselves from the eyes of others. So we have to be kind. How we will generate that kindness? By self-awareness. That, okay, fine, I did my best. Next time I will do better. But let me be kind to myself first. Choice and freedom. Because we understand when the awareness comes, when self-awareness is there, we know who we are. We know that we don't have to work in a conditioned manner. If the society expects me to work and perform in a certain way, and my heart, my soul, my intuition says that no, I don't belong to this path, then you will get that confidence, you will get that freedom to actually choose your path. You can break free from the automatic and habitual patterns that, okay, certain behavior have been, your certain behaviors have been set in the past. But once the awareness comes, you can break those behaviors. If those behaviors are not serving good for you, you can always make a conscious decision that I, from now onwards, will behave like an aware being, and I will consciously not behave in the certain manner. heightened enjoyment of life. Obviously, this is the gist. We all want to enjoy life. We want to live in bliss. We want to live in happiness, in peace. Now, once we are aware, the very first thing which happens in us is the acceptance. Acceptance of whatever circumstances, whatever situation is coming to us. With this acceptance prevails a wisdom that everything in this world is temporary. My joy, my sorrow, my struggle, my success, everything is coming and going, coming and going. So as an aware being, it helps us to stay in the state of bliss, in peace. You're not very much affected by the griefs of the life, and at the same time, you're not very much crazy about the joy, the success, or anything which gives a lot of excitement. There has to be a peace, a balance in life. That balance is attained when we are self-aware. Overall, awareness holds a many significant benefits of well-being, mental clarity, relationship, allowing you to live your life to the fullest, to your fullest potential. And what is our objective? To live to our fullest potential, to ascend in the journey called life, to find our highest purpose. So this is it. This was the basics of self-awareness. Now, I shall give you some very important and effective meditative practices which can help you to develop self-awareness. First of all, I would like to tell you that anything you want to practice in life or anything you want to attain in life will require a commitment and discipline. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आज हम बैठे, हमने आज ध्यान किया और हमने सोचा कि अब तो हमारा जो ब्रेन है वो पूरी तरह से हमारे कंट्रोल में है. Regular discipline is very, very important. Commitment towards your mental health, commitment towards your well-being, commitment towards your awareness is very, very important. So if someone has unmuted, I would request them to mute their videos. जो ध्यान हम प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, the school of faith which we practice, उसके बारे में मैं थोड़ा सा आपको ब्रीफ दूंगी. It is known as divine meditation. Unlike other streams of meditation, in divine meditation, we do exercise-based meditation, and I myself have been doing this for almost past 15 years. I have seen miraculous changes, and I really prefer to go by my experiences, the results which I have felt in my life. So here in divine meditation, our meditative practices are like exercises, small exercises, and I shall give you the exercises, but little brief, in which we will focus on our chakras. So there are 7 chakras in the body, starting from the bottommost chakra, so chakras are basically the energy centers. There are many chakras in the body, but there are 7 main energy centers in the body. So the bottommost chakra is the Mooladhara chakra. Then above that, in the pelvic region, there's the sacral chakra or the Swadhisthana chakra. Coming up, there is the stomach chakra or the Manipura chakra. Then we have the heart chakra, which is the Anahat chakra. Then at the throat, where the thyroid gland lies, that is our Vishuddhi chakra. Then where we put our tilak, the center of the forehead, there we have Agya chakra or the third eye chakra. And at the top of the head, from where the shikha starts, there is the crown chakra. So there are the 7 chakras. The chakras below the heart chakra majorly represent the material body. And the chakras from heart chakra to the top chakras represent the spiritual body. Now awareness starts from the heart chakra. Our heart is the seat of divine, जहाँ पे डिवाइन स्थित है. अनाहत चक्र से विजडम स्टार्ट होता है. जब आपका अनाहत चक्र ओपन होने लगता है, एनर्जाइज होने लगता है, आपको ऑटोमेटिकली आंसर्स मिलने लगते हैं आपके जीवन के, आपके पर्पस के. इंट्यूटिवली आप और ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग हो जाते हैं। सारा सीट ऑफ विजडम इज योर heart chakra and your third eye chakra. So for awareness, I will give you exercises based on the third eye chakra and the crown chakra. Because majorly this part, our brain is the part of awareness. Because जहाँ पे लेफ्ट ब्रेन और राइट ब्रेन है, वहीं पे हमारी सीड ऑफ थॉट्स होती हैं, सीड ऑफ ट्रॉमास होते हैं, गोइंग बैक टू द स्पाइनल कॉर्ड. और वहीं पे मोस्टली, बिकॉज वी लिव इन आवर हेड्स, most of the people live in their heads. And to be completely aware, we have to step out of the head. We have to not engage ourselves completely in our thoughts, our mind, our cluttered imaginations. We have to free that space. So physically, mentally, spiritually, we have to free up the space. We have to sanitize the space. And that is how, once you are able to start freeing up the space, then gradually awareness will start seeping in. Visions will start seeping in. Mental clarity will start seeping in. Concentration, intuition, gut, and everything which you ever dream of will start finding you and start situating in your being. So first, I will give you an exercise जिसको हम थॉट बर्निंग कहते हैं. थॉट्स को कंप्लीटली हटाना. शुरू में थॉटलेसनेस की स्टेज अटेन करने में थोड़ा समय लगता है, बिकॉज अभी तक ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ सो मेनी इयर्स सिंस आवर बर्थ वी आर कंप्लीटली एंगेज्ड इन थॉट्स. एंड थॉटलेसनेस होना माइक्रो सेकेंड्स के लिए भी बहुत मुश्किल काम है, बट हम निरंतर प्रयास करने से एक ऐसी स्टेट में पहुंच जाते हैं जहां पे हमारा ब्रेन खुद ब खुद थॉट्स को रिजेक्ट करने लगता है. That state, that meditative state of bliss appears and our brain gradually starts rejecting the thought that for the moment I want to remain thoughtless. That is how our brain starts behaving. Our hands, our palms are the energy centers. So we use our hands in the practice of divine meditation. So for thought burning, please, I need your attention here for thought burning. I'll tell you how we do this exercise. We use two tools in divine meditation. One is humming, hum करना, और दूसरा होता है ओम का उच्चारण करना. हमिंग जब करते हैं, हमिंग भी एक तरह का ओम ही है. जब हम मुंह बंद करके अंदर एक आंतरिक गुंजन करते हैं तो उसको हम हमिंग कहते हैं. I will just show you once how we hum. We take a deep breath, fill our chest, fill our lungs with oxygen. ये जो है, ये हमिंग है. और ओम तो मुझे लगता है मैक्सिमम लोगों को आता होगा. ओम जो है अ, उ और म को लेके बना हुआ है. हम जब ओम बोलेंगे तो हम ओ को ऑलमोस्ट 30% या 40% बोलेंगे और रेस्ट ऑफ द पार्ट हम म पे फोकस करेंगे. 60% या 70% हम म की तरफ बोलेंगे. मैं आपको बोल के दिखाती हूँ. एक बार फिर से लंबा गहरा श्वास लेते हैं. ओम. इस तरह से हम हमिंग और ओम करते हैं. तो थॉट बर्निंग की एक्सरसाइज के लिए हम पहले एक बार आप देख लें, उसके बाद मैं आप लोगों से अनुरोध करूंगी कि मेरे साथ थॉट बर्निंग का एक सेट करेंगे. हम अपने दोनों हैंड्स को पहले अपने टेम्पल्स पे रखेंगे और जो हमारी मिडिल फिंगर होती है उसको हम ऐसे करके सर के ऊपर ज्वाइन कर लेते हैं. इस तरह से एक ब्रिज बन जाता है. यहाँ पे हम सर पे हाथ रखे, लेफ्ट ब्रेन और राइट ब्रेन के ऊपर ऐसे हाथ रखे हम 5 टाइम्स हमिंग करेंगे. हर बार जब हम हमिंग करेंगे तो हम श्वास लेंगे गहरी, और एक हमिंग के साथ एक बार पूरी ब्रेथ रिलीज हो जाएगी. ऐसे हम 5 टाइम्स यहाँ पे करेंगे. उसके बाद 5 टाइम्स करने के बाद हम दोनों ईयर्स को अपने पाम से ढक लेंगे और हमारे हेड के पीछे हम अपना जो सेकंड फिंगर है, जो मिडिल फिंगर है, उसको ज्वाइन कर लेंगे. बाकी फिंगर्स को आप रिलैक्स करके अपने पीछे ही रखें। बहुत जोर से या बहुत प्रेशर से कहीं पे भी हाथ नहीं दबाना है, बहुत आराम से करना है। यहाँ पे फिर हम 3 बार हमिंग करेंगे मिडिल फिंगर को ज्वाइन करते हुए, और 2 बार उसी पोजीशन में हम ओम करेंगे। ये ध्यान रखेंगे कि जब भी हम हमिंग करें, एक हमिंग में एक बार श्वास लें, दूसरी हमिंग में दूसरी बार श्वास लें। तो आइए मेरे साथ एक सेट हम थॉट बर्निंग का करते हैं। उसके बाद हम 3-4 सेकंड के लिए बैठेंगे, धीरे धीरे अपने हाथों को रब करेंगे और आंखों पे रखेंगे। जो भी स्पेक्टिकल्स पहने हुए हैं कृपया करके अपने स्पेक्टिकल्स उतार दें। आंखें बंद कर लें, गहरी श्वास लें, गहरी श्वास अंदर, गहरी श्वास बाहर छोड़ेंगे। बिल्कुल रिलैक्स। फिर से गहरी श्वास भीतर और गहरी श्वास बाहर छोड़ेंगे। बिल्कुल रिलैक्स करेंगे, आंखें बंद करेंगे। जब तक मैं ना कहूँ अपनी आंखें बंद ही रखें। अब अपने दोनों हाथों को अपने टेम्पल्स, अपनी कनपट्टी पे रखते हुए अपने सर के ऊपर अपनी मध्यमा, अपनी मिडिल फिंगर को ज्वाइन करेंगे। गहरा श्वास और पहली बार हमिंग करेंगे। फिर से फिर से फिर से फिर से आंखें बंद ही रखेंगे। अब दोनों हाथों को ईयर्स पे रख लेंगे और हेड के पीछे अपने फिंगर को ज्वाइन करेंगे। यहाँ पे भी गहरी श्वास लेके हर बार 3 बार हमिंग करेंगे। फिर से फिर से करेंगे। अब 2 बार इसी पोजीशन में आंखें बंद रखते हुए ही ओम करेंगे। लंबा गहरा श्वास। ओम। लंबा गहरा श्वास। ओम। दोनों हाथों को नीचे रख लेंगे, आंखें बंद ही रखेंगे। जो भी अनुभव आ रहा है उसे अपने मन में रजिस्टर करेंगे, बिल्कुल शांत और स्वाभाविक। गहरी श्वास अंदर और गहरी श्वास बाहर लेंगे। अभी मैं आप लोगों को एक साउंड एनर्जी भेजूंगी जिसको आप अपनी श्वास द्वारा ग्रहण करेंगे, आंखें बंद ही रखेंगे। इस हीलिंग साउंड एनर्जी को अपनी आत्मा में, अपने शरीर में, अपने मन में पूरी तरह से अब्सॉर्ब करेंगे। धीरे धीरे अपने दोनों हाथों को रब करेंगे, आंखें बंद ही रखेंगे। दोनों हाथों को रब करके अपने सर के ऊपरी भाग में रखेंगे, अपने ब्रेन को एनर्जाइज करेंगे। फिर से रब करेंगे, पूरे हेड को कवर करेंगे। फिर से रब करेंगे, अपने ईयर्स पे रखेंगे। फिर से रब करेंगे, एक बार अपनी आंखों पे रखेंगे। एक बार पूरे चेहरे पे रखेंगे रब करके। अब आप लोग धीरे धीरे अपनी आंखें खोल सकते हैं। इस एक्सरसाइज को, जैसा कि मैंने आप लोगों को बताया, थॉट बर्निंग कहते हैं। धीरे धीरे इस एक्सरसाइज के निरंतर प्रयास से आप विचार शून्य होने की अवस्था में पहुंचने लगेंगे। विचार शून्य होना अपने आप में एक बहुत ही बड़ी शक्ति है। आप विचार शून्य होने लगेंगे। आप अपनी इच्छा से जब विचार शून्य होने लगते हैं तो आप अपने माइंड को कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं। आप अपने ट्रिगर्स को कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं। आप अपने रिएक्शंस टुवर्ड्स सर्टेन सिचुएशंस को कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं। और इस तरह से हम पूरी तरह से एक अवेयर बीइंग जैसे वर्क कर सकते हैं, फंक्शन कर सकते हैं। हमने क्या किया इसमें, हमने अपने हाथों से अपने लेफ्ट ब्रेन और राइट ब्रेन को एनर्जाइज किया। हमने अपने लेफ्ट ब्रेन और राइट ब्रेन को पूरी तरह से सैनिटाइज किया। अगर मैं आपको मेडिटेटिव लैंग्वेज में समझाऊं कि हमारा ब्रेन जो है या एक डिस्क जैसे है, या हमारा माइंड जो है वो एक डिस्क जैसे है, उसमें एक लिमिटेड ही क्षमता होती है मेमोरीज को, एक्सपीरियंसेस को, थॉट्स को स्टोर करने की। उसमें भी हमारा एक सबकॉन्शियस पार्ट होता है और एक कॉन्शियस पार्ट होता है। जब हमारा सबकॉन्शियस माइंड पूरी तरह से क्लटर्ड हो जाता है, वो ग्रेजुअली हमारे कॉन्शियस माइंड की तरफ अपने जो भी एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं उसको भेजने लगता है। जब कॉन्शियस माइंड भी पूरी तरह से क्लटर्ड हो जाता है, हमारे नेगेटिव थॉट्स, हमारे नेगेटिव ट्रॉमास, नेगेटिव एक्सपीरियंसेस, इमोशंस, सेल्फ डाउट, अनवर्दीनेस, तो फिर वो क्या करता है, वो हमारे फिजिकल रेल्म में, हमारे बिहेवियर्स में ये सब नेगेटिविटी को एक्सप्रेस करने लगता है, जिसके कारण हमें डिप्रेशन, एंजाइटी और भी बहुत तरह की चीजें होने लगती हैं। एक समय के बाद जब हमारे बिहेवियर्स में भी हम बहुत एक्सट्रीम में पहुंच जाते हैं तो साथ साथ हमारी फिजिकल बॉडी में डिजीजेस पैदा होने लगती हैं। किसी को गट डिजीज हो जाएगी, किसी को वीक नीज हो जाएंगे, किसी को बैक एक शुरू हो जाएगा। द सीट ऑफ एवरी डिजीज लाइज इन योर ब्रेन। Please know this. We can heal ourselves. If we can create the diseases, we can definitely powerfully heal ourselves. So this is the exercise about decluttering your subconscious and conscious. निरंतर प्रयोग से आप अपना पास्ट का जो भी क्लटर है वो तो हटाएंगे ही, साथ में आप ऐसी चीजें अपने जीवन में अट्रैक्ट करने लगेंगे, ऐसे एक्सपीरियंसेस अपनी लाइफ में अट्रैक्ट करने लगेंगे, ऐसे पॉजिटिव लोग, ऐसे पॉजिटिव थॉट्स आपके पास आने लगेंगे कॉस्मोस से, कि ग्रेजुअली आपका जो पर्पस है, आपको जहां जाना है, उसकी तरफ आप धीरे धीरे बढ़ने लगेंगे। आइडियली थॉट बर्निंग एक्सरसाइज शुड बी मिनिमम डन 3 times। ये जो मैंने आपको बताया ये एक सेट है, जब भी करें इसको 3 सेट्स करें। एक बार मैं क्विकली रिवाइज करूंगी। हमने हाथ ऐसे रखे, यहाँ हमने 5 बार हमिंग की, फिर हमने यहाँ पे 3 बार हमिंग की और 2 बार ओम किया। ये पूरा मिला के एक सेट होगा। हमिंग और ओम, सर पे 5 बार हमिंग, यहाँ पे 3 बार हमिंग और 2 बार ओम। और हर बार जब भी हम हमिंग और ओम करेंगे, गहरा श्वास भरेंगे, हम अपने फेफड़ों को प्राण ऊर्जा से भरेंगे और उसके बाद करेंगे। सेकेंड एक्सरसाइज की तरफ अब आते हैं। इसको सेंस प्यूरिफिकेशन कहते हैं। ओवर पीरियड ऑफ सो मेनी इयर्स हमने अपनी लाइफ में इतने सारे एक्सपीरियंसेस किए हैं, कुछ गुड कुछ बैड, जिसके कारण हमारे जो सेंसेस हैं वो कहीं ना कहीं पूरी तरह से उन एक्सपीरियंसेस के बेस पे चलते हैं। हम जो देखते हैं, हम जो सोचते हैं, हम एक सर्टेन पैटर्न में बिहेव करते हैं, बिकॉज हमारे सेंसेस सारे उस एक्सपीरियंस में इन्वॉल्व थे। उसी का आउटकम होता है हमारा प्रेजेंट बिहेवियर, हमारी प्रेजेंट जर्नी। तो कोई भी जर्नी में असेंड करने के लिए, कोई भी दिशा में बढ़ने के लिए हमें क्या करना है, पहले अपने सारे सेंसेस को प्योरीफाई करना शुरू करना है। हमारे पास 5 सेंसेस हैं मेन: सेंस ऑफ साइट, सेंस ऑफ स्मेल, सेंस ऑफ स्पीकिंग और टेस्ट, सेंस ऑफ हियरिंग एंड सेंस ऑफ टच। सेंस ऑफ टच जो होता है वो हम थर्ड आई से करते हैं, और उसके बाद सेंस ऑफ हियरिंग ऑब्वियसली ईयर, सेंस ऑफ साइट आईज, स्मेल and speaking. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Okay, I think there was some connection error.
Yeah, fine.
So we shall start sense purification. Firstly, हम अपने हाथों को एक बार मेरे साथ सब देखेंगे, उसके बाद फिर हम एक्सरसाइज करेंगे। फर्स्टली हम अपने हाथों को कप शेप कर लेंगे, कॉनकेव। ये जो एरिया है ये अंदर रहेगा और ऐसे कॉनकेव रहेंगे। हम इसमें अपनी आंखों के ऊपर फर्स्ट ऐसे रखेंगे, यहाँ रखेंगे, नोज पे रखेंगे, ईयर्स पे रखेंगे और माउथ पे रखेंगे। हम एक एक करके हमिंग द्वारा अपने सारे सेंसेस को प्योरीफाई करेंगे। We will start with our third eye, which is the seat of sense of touch. थर्ड आई पे हम पहले लेफ्ट हैंड रखेंगे, उसके बाद राइट हैंड रखेंगे, लंबा गहरा श्वास लेंगे, 3 बार यहाँ पे हमिंग करेंगे, फिर हम आंखों पे आ जाएंगे। हाथ हमारे ऐसे कॉनकेव रहेंगे और आंखें हमारी बंद रहेंगी। आंखों पे भी हम लंबा गहरा श्वास लेके 3 बार हमिंग करेंगे। उसके बाद हम ईयर्स पे आ जाएंगे। ईयर्स पे भी हम लंबी गहरी श्वास लेके हर बार 3 बार हमिंग करेंगे। नोज पे देखेंगे ध्यान से, हम अपनी नोज को, हमारे फिंगर्स ऐसे रहेंगे और देखिए मैंने अपने पूरे पाम को ऐसे ज्वाइन कर लिया है with little pressure on the sides of my nose. ऐसे करके, जैसे कोई चिमटे से आपने अपनी नोज को होल्ड कर लिया है। थोड़ा सा स्पेस रहेगा जहां से हम ब्रीथ करेंगे, और हम यहाँ पे भी 3 बार हमिंग करेंगे। देखिए मेरे हाथ बिल्कुल ऐसे जुड़े हुए हैं। देयर इज अ स्लाइट प्रेशर। This zone of nose produces nitric oxide, which helps us to boost immunity. So there will be a pressure when we hum, this nitric oxide is secreted in the nose. There will be slight pressure on the walls of the nose. Nose का करने के बाद we will come on mouth. इस पे हम अपनी दोनों टंग, अपनी दोनों टीथ के बीच में टंग को रख के like this, we will close our mouth. We will do our left hand first and उसके ऊपर हम अपना right hand रखेंगे, और यहाँ पे भी हम 3 बार लंबी गहरी श्वास के साथ हमिंग करेंगे, ऐसे करेंगे। तो याद रखना है, हैंड्स कॉन्केव रखेंगे, और यहाँ पे, यहाँ से शुरू करेंगे थर्ड आई से, फिर आईज पे आएंगे, फिर ईयर्स, नोज एंड माउथ। तो लेट्स स्टार्ट। अपनी आईज क्लोज कर लें। लंबा गहरा श्वास, पहले लेफ्ट हैंड कप शेप में, उसके ऊपर राइट हैंड। थर्ड आई के बाद अपनी आंखों पे आएंगे। लेफ्ट हैंड को लेफ्ट आई पे रखेंगे, राइट हैंड को राइट आई पे रखेंगे। लंबा गहरा श्वास और 3 बार हमिंग। आंखें बंद ही रखेंगे, ईयर्स पे आ जाइए कप शेप में। लेफ्ट हैंड को लेफ्ट ईयर पे, राइट हैंड को राइट ईयर पे। अब नोज पे आ जाएंगे। नोज को फ्लैट थंब से होल्ड करते हुए दोनों पाम्स को ज्वाइन करना है, पूरे फिंगर्स ज्वाइन रहेंगे। लंबा गहरा श्वास और 3 बार हमिंग करेंगे। अब दोनों टीथ के बीच में टंग को रखेंगे, मुंह बंद करेंगे। कप शेप में लेफ्ट हैंड पहले, उसके ऊपर राइट हैंड, और लंबा गहरा श्वास 3 बार हमिंग।
I think there is some internet issue with the speaker. Just hold with us.
Yes, I think there's some technical glitch. आंखें बंद करेंगे, मुंह पे हाथ रखेंगे, लंबा गहरा श्वास। दोनों हाथों को नीचे रख लेंगे, आंखें बंद ही रखेंगे, गहरी श्वास और इस हीलिंग एनर्जी को अपने अंदर एब्जॉर्ब करेंगे। आंखें बंद ही रखेंगे, डीप ब्रीदिंग करेंगे। धीरे धीरे दोनों हाथों को रब करेंगे। सबसे पहले सेंटर ऑफ फोरहेड पे रखेंगे, उसके बाद आंखों पे रखेंगे, फिर ईयर्स पे रखेंगे, फिर से रब करके नोज के साइड पे रखेंगे, माउथ पे रखेंगे, एक बार फिर से रब करके पूरे फेस पे रखेंगे, धीरे धीरे अपनी आंखें खोलेंगे। इस एक्सरसाइज को करने से ग्रेजुअली हमारे सेंसेस में जो भी इम्प्योरिटी है, जो भी प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, जो भी इश्यूज हैं, जो भी नेगेटिव एनर्जी स्टक है in our senses, that gradually starts leaving the place and we start acquiring the purification which is required for us to ascend towards the higher realms, towards the higher path. Also, जो पुराने हमारे पास के ट्रॉमास हैं या कुछ ऐसे एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं जो अभी भी आते हैं, विजिट करते हैं हमें, ऐसे फियर्स हैं जो हमें विजिट करते हैं और हमें लगता है कि ये बहुत बड़े डीमंस हैं, डीमंस ऑफ द पास्ट, फियर्स ऑफ द पास्ट। ग्रेजुअली जब हम सेंसेस को प्योरीफाई करने लगते हैं तो वो डीमंस वैनिश होने लगते हैं, हमें रियलाइज होने लगता है कि हम एक अवेयर बीइंग हैं, हम बहुत ही पावरफुल हैं, वी आर पोटेंट इनफ to fight every situation of our life. We start becoming like an observer and gradually those things, those challenges also start fading. एक बार मैं क्विक रिवाइज करूंगी. हाथों को कप शेप बनाना है. सबसे पहले थर्ड आई यानी सेंटर ऑफ फोरहेड पे राइट हैंड और लेफ्ट हैंड को कप शेप में रख के 3 बार हमिंग करनी है. उसके बाद आईज पे रखना है, 3 बार हमिंग करनी है. फिर ईयर्स पे 3 बार, फिर नोज पे, और उसके बाद माउथ पे. माउथ पे जब करेंगे तो दोनों टीथ के बीच में हम टंग रखते हैं. इसको भी मिनिमम 3 बार करें. मैक्सिमम आप कितनी बार भी कर सकते हैं. 11 बार करिए, 21 बार करिए. आप जितना ज्यादा बार करेंगे, जितने रेपिटेशंस बढ़ाएंगे, आपको उतना ही वो अवेयरनेस, वो अलाइनमेंट अपनी लाइफ में, वो काम, वो कंपोजर आपकी लाइफ में ऑटोमेटिकली आने लगेगा. तो मेरा सेशन यहीं पे मैं समाप्त करना चाहूंगी. आप लोगों का बहुत धन्यवाद फिर से, to be so patient, so warm for inviting me. Thank you, Dr. Amri. Thank you, Aurora sir, and thank you, Asia Pacific Management School. Thank you so much. बहुत बहुत आभार. धन्यवाद.
Thank you, ma'am.
It was really an enlightening session. You know, when you were talking about self-identity and all those things, that how we relate our self-identity with a particular thing. And actually, Bala sir would also agree to all those things which we have been practicing these days, right, sir? And also the 2 exercises which you shared with us about the thought burning and the sense purification. If if youth of these days would able to understand the power of this meditation, I feel most of the problems which they are suffering actually these days, about the depression or negativity and less productivity, they would come out of it. But then yes, they are still very far away, and hope these sessions, such practices would help them to connect and to go back towards this Vedic culture and system. I seriously thank you. It was very enlightening session, and without delaying further, I would like to introduce our second speaker, that is Sabala Iyer. He is the founder of Yoga Niti, a rich and teach center for learning classical yoga. Bala Iyer is a postgraduate in electronics with over 33 plus years of corporate experience in IT sales, marketing, and consulting. He has traveled extensively and is well versed with the nuances of corporates and their health concerns, as well as common men health issues. So he specializes in customized one-to-one sessions for anyone who is looking to start off in the wellness journey. He is a lifestyle maintenance specialist for Alzheimer's and dementia through classical yoga. And apart from it, I would say he is a well full of knowledge. So let us explore that well. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Amri. Thank you for the entire panel for introducing, and thank you for the opportunity to address you. I think I was listening to Romajit speaking on the consciousness, self-awareness, and also giving tips. So what I will actually do is to talk about the entire thing from a mind management point of view. So my entire series of deck that I have is focused on what are the area of mind management. Can you put the deck up, Dr. Amri? Hello, Dr. Amri. Can you please put the deck up? Yes. Okay, till the time that the deck goes up, it's important to understand in today's context the actual contextual meaning of yoga. Okay, most of the time it's equated with the asanas, the pranayama series, the breathing sequences, the variation in the breathing, if you may, in terms of whatever happens. Okay, so from an overall point of view, if we have to look and understand as to is there a problem?
Yes, sir. Actually, there is some. Is it shared? Means actually we have shared it from our side. Sir,
No,
is
you
it?
have. Hold up. Give me a moment. Just give me a minute.
Sir, उनको बुला लो. Sir, is it visible? सर ये तो हम ही दिख रहा है ना. सर ये तो हम ही दिख रहा है. ये हम ही दिख रहा है ना, उन्हें कहाँ दिख रहा है?
You see my slides now?
Sir, is it visible? We have shared it.
No, I did not, but I'm sharing it now. Can you see my slides?
Yes, sir, we can see your slides. You can put it on the screen mode, presentation mode.
नहीं सर, नहीं दिख रहा था हमारा. अब उनका
You can just press the presentation button, yeah, down.
Just give me a minute. I'm just not able to see my presentation mode.
Yeah, this one. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah, right?
that's right.
Still not going to the presentation mode.
Sir, you can go to slideshow.
No, I understand. Is it now okay?
Yes, sir,
Yes.
it's visible.
Thank you so much, sir.
So I think it's important to basically look in terms of a quick reality check. Okay, what is it that we are living in? Why is yoga becoming so important? It's not that we have the Prime Minister who is the greatest ambassador for yoga, but at the same time, you are seeing a lot of people actually getting into yoga. Okay, and how is it that it actually influences the entire thing from a yoga and a mind management point of view? What I wanted to just share is this entire thing is influenced by the Bihar School of Yoga from Satyendranath Saraswati. Those who follow the Bihar School of Yoga, you actually find very good textbooks coming from there. So if you want to go one level deeper into yoga, and to look in terms of the scientific realms of what happens in yoga, you can actually look up the Bihar School of Yoga and buy any books which come from Bihar School of Yoga. Most of it are available on Amazon. This is actually completely, let's say, influenced by yoga in daily life. And very nicely put. All I have done is to actually put it in a pictorial form. Okay. All right. So if you look in terms of a quick reality check, okay. So if you look in terms of saying, okay, what is it that we are doing right now in terms of the overall part? As human beings, we are facing difficulties, but at the same time, we would all want to be happy, peaceful, and contented. In this, we find moments of happiness, moments of frustration, difficulty, but everyone is striving for happiness. Okay, the key motive in the entire thing is, how do I need to be happy? What are the kind of things that I need to be happy? You'll be very surprised to know that the University of, one of the famous universities in US offers a course on happiness. And it's one of the most sought after courses. So you can imagine the kind of thing that people are going through in terms of being happy. Okay, so if you look in terms of the left to the right paradigm, okay, so is it the life that I want? What are the purpose and the meaning of life? I think sometime or the other, we all been confronted by these in terms of saying, okay, this is the way we would need to go. These are kind of things which is there. What is the routine? And sometimes we also say, hey, Jamila, Chhodke, and we go for solitude. All the things, the plethora of questions which we keep answering. In all of these things, what is important to understand is the concept of Maya. I think we have heard it in different words, the concept of Maya, and everything is being an illusion in terms of the illusion and the distractions. And basically what it says is all human beings when they are born are highly creative. But the mind is subjected to layers or what is called the sheath of illusions and distractions, which takes us from the truth. And we are all born with what is called the tamas, the lethargy kind of thing, which actually puts us in a state of stagnation. And this combination is completely held together by desires. Okay, so if we look in and around today, a lot of people and a lot of articles talking in terms of how do we tame our desires. Desire is the root cause. And if you look at it, all the marketing thing which is happening today actually touches upon the chord of inherent desires. It says you must have this, you are lacking this. So those are the things which we must remember. If you look, that's what I just talked about. Then the mind will never have any fulfillment or content of peace. It's in a constant state of, let's say, racing. So the new term that I coined today is we are confronted with what is called as the racing brain. And right now, I'm actually working with a couple of people who are, young school kids in the 6-7 standard who have a racing mind. We have ladies who are subjected to racing minds. So how do you take care of a racing mind? So we'll have to look in terms of what are the kind of things which is there. I think the previous topic also talked, Ms. Tomar also talked in terms of how do you do senses and how does the sense influence the desires? Because she touched upon it in terms of the overall part. So if there is one word which actually satisfies the entire thing in the material world that we live, it is sense gratification. Short-lived, but sense gratification, immediate. If there's nothing long-term, okay. So from a sense gratification point of view, how do we actually get into the 4 areas in terms of saying, how do I actually look in terms of controlling the mind? And all of these things is the precursor to what we talk about as the mind management through yoga. Okay, so these are all the precursors to it, and that's why I'm talking about it. So you talk in terms of understanding the manas, the buddhi, the chitta, and the ahamkara. What are these 4? And how does it actually help? We look at it from the different layer. I'm not going to look in terms of the different types of mind or the different types of brain, the conscious, subconscious, the superconscious, and things like that. But in terms of how it happens is all this actually plays around what is called as your ego, me, I. Everything revolves around it. If there's any conflict, you would say, uske ego pe gaya. Okay, so all of these things has different layers of the mind behind which there are inherent desires. And any of these inherent desires which is imbalanced is where the actual problem starts. Okay, so this is what we see, the levels of the mind in terms of manas, buddhi, chitta, ahamkara, the rational indications, and what is called the conditioned mind, which is confined and limited, to what is called as having a unconditioned mind, which is free. So this is the basis in which we look in terms of the mind management point of view, the tamasic nature, which is lethargic, the body, which is lethargic, okay, the structure of the body, the mentality and the thoughts, the entire things going about is what we have to look in terms of saying, how do I actually look in terms of moving this sluggishness from a conditioned point of view to a free-flowing freedom? And how do we express this in such a way that I keep my sense in rein? And look in terms of how do I control this so that I am completely satisfied, not distracted, and not disillusioned by anything in life. That's the entire thing of the core concept of mind management. That's what I just talked about. Not a free living form in terms of how it has happened, conditioned mind to unconditioned mind. This journey is what is the most important aspect of mind management, which a lot of people do not touch upon when we talk about yoga. Yoga is a word which is used very commonly from the West, but the actual word which needs to be used is yoke. Yoke is yoke. Yoke means to unite, to join. Okay. So quick look in terms of what we require. We get bombarded in terms of the 5 sense objects, the taste, the ear, sight, and the smell and the touch. And they play around with this in terms of what happens. Okay, the sense objects is where the actual creation of the desires happens. And the senses is where you take the action. The trigger which happens from here and then it goes about. Any violence that you see in this world today, there is this moment of madness. In that moment of madness, you lose all your senses and you commit. When you look at a person who actually commits that crime and go and talk to him later, this is a great subject of yoga that we're talking about. How do you manage that momentary sense of madness? What happens? And in that, you actually lose everything in life because your sense objects are not fulfilled. You crave for fulfillment of the desires. So life, if you look at it from a three-dimension point of view, is sense objects, which control the senses, and the desires. This is in a loop. And the people who have a balance between these three loops, or these three aspects of life, is what lead a better life, and yoga pushes you towards it. All said and done, we still go through all the things in a materialistic world. We need to have the materials, we need to have the comfort. It's not to shy away saying that we're going to abstain, move into solitude. No. How do we do this entire balancing, and how does the mind play a bigger part in controlling the senses, sense objects, the senses, and take care of the desires? This entire thing is beautifully done by you. Okay. So again, the same thing. If you are not controlling it, you get into frustration and anxiety. As Tomer also talked about, if you're highly anxious, you get into sadness, depression, and she showed different techniques in terms of how this can be controlled. The third eye plays a very important part in the entire part of it. Those are the techniques. But the science behind what is happening is what I'm trying to explain. Okay, so if you look at it from here, the Bhagavad Gita actually quotes in terms of saying aggression should be there, but there are two types of aggression, which is appropriate or is inappropriate, and where the intelligence is deluded. And a lot of times it is quoted upon that Duryodhana knew that he was doing wrong, but at the same time, the statement which he makes is, I know what I'm doing is wrong, but I'm not able to control myself. I want that revenge. I want it now. So the mind, the object, the desire, the fulfillment of the desire, the same thing. Any one thing which goes out of place will cause you trouble. And the Bhagavad Gita is a great place to actually look into it deeply. It has a tremendous impact in terms of what we are learning in the yoga part of it, as well as the management structure today. Okay. So when we look at it, and we're looking at a lot of things which is coming about in terms of the sense objects. How do you do sense gratification? How do you move from frustration, confusion to satisfaction? Okay. And as we have seen, a lot of people now also talk about what are the top 5 regrets of the people who are on the deathbed. There are a lot of things which have been written. And most of the time, it always comes back to maintaining health. Health, again, is psychosomatic. The mind plays a bigger part in terms of the health part of it. And then you basically look in terms of, I do not have to look in terms of all the worries which becomes sorry, right? So how do we lead our lives from conditioned to unconditioned? Fine tune the different areas and the aspects of the personality. So what we are looking at is, if you look at all the 4 things that we talked about, all the four things need to be tuned: the mind, buddhi, ahankara, and the senses. Once it is tuned properly, it's the example of Tanpura. If you have the 4 strings which are tuned properly, you get a nice sound. If it is untuned, you get the same noise. The same, let's say, example which can be done. Same thing, you tune your life, your body, mind, emotions, and the spirit which is there. Again, in terms of manas, buddhi, ahankar, chitta, and ahankar, this is where it explains. Manas is the sensory mind. Okay, chitta is the store of memory. And inevitably, whether we like it or not, we have a general tendency to store everything which is negative, and something which strikes, which is there at the back part of it, is your chitta. The ahankar is the sense of self. It is good to have ego. Ego is not a bad thing. But once you start getting led and being deluded by the I part of it, that's where the trouble starts. Important thing again to remember in all of these things is what Bhagavad Gita quotes. Nothing that you do is done by you. It is the upper power, the superpower up, which basically helps you to, the higher power comes into you to help you to achieve something which is there. It is not I. It is a superpower which is using you as a medium to help something done. So that is how the entire thing is there. A lot of people, when they have reached certain levels of intelligence, certain level of knowledge, certain level of depth, that is where they come in and say, look, that's how the Gurujis get formed. It's where the Guru Shiksha Parampara comes on, where this entire 4 elements put together. The manas, the chitta, ahankara, and buddhi, the entire faculty is so well fine-tuned, and there's a certain glow which you have, and that's what is the thing that you take away, caught in your entire incessant materialistic thing. Acquire. That is where it is important to actually talk in terms of the entire thing. So how should we lead our life is to fine-tune these 4 aspects. Anything which is going wrong, has a health impact. Okay, a quick look at health, which we'll not talk about. I think it's quite common in terms of it's not only the physical, mental, and social well-being. Okay, it's not merely the absence of disease or infirmity, but it's a complete physical, mental, social, and spiritual, emotional part of it put together. Psychosomatic, the entire part of it put together is what is health. Okay, right. So when you look in terms of all of these things, when you fine tune, the easiest instrument to fine tune all of these things, everybody talks in one aspect of yoga, but the entire thing which you put it together and you actually practice yoga as a sadhak. What is the meaning of a sadhak? The difference between a practitioner and a sadhak, we will see later. When you actually get into the real meaning of yoga, it has a very, very powerful way of transforming yourself in terms of a complete shift in terms of a different perspective that you see in life. Okay. One of the myths that keeps floating around, and we also looked in terms of saying, "Arey, yoga karke mere ko, I am able to know myself more better." That's the self-realization part of it. No. The self-realization is, or the God realization is not the part of yoga. Okay. So yoga is different. You're practicing something out of which you look in terms of saying, how do I align all the four elements that we talked earlier? That is what is important. Then you look in terms of saying, okay, how does the mind work? And a very, very nice 195 quotes called the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, which are explained very well done ages ago by Sage Patanjali, and which he says, Chitta Vritti Virodha is Patanjali's definition of yoga. It means all the fluctuations of the mind, okay, getting removed and stilling. So when you look in terms, the first thing that you look at people who have been practicing for a long time is they are able to sit in silence for a long time. They're able to be still in a long time. And you look in terms of saying, am I looking at the way the thing is, not coloring anything by judgment, which is what is meant by not colored by thoughts. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't have layers, and I do not get into judgmental part of it very quickly. So yoga is all about mind management. That's what we'll talk about in the later part of it. The entire part of yoga, the last stage, is what is called as Kaivalya. It's not death. Beyond death is in terms of saying all the dissipated energy coming together. When somebody dies, they always say in the first 5 minutes, there's an aura which surrounds the entire thing. If you've done it correctly, that's what is meant by going into Kaivalya. Okay. And that's where it says, God is where you are. Important statement to remember. God is where you are. Almighty is where you are. And the moving away, the transcendental experience is what we feel when it is completely obstructed by your mind, your thoughts, your desires, and ego. Again, manas, chit, ahankar, the same part of it coming here. So how do we take care of it here in terms of how do you manage your grief, tension, and strife, and how do you manage your desires and passions? All of these things put together, the complete balance, which we take care of the inherent creativity which gets blinded by the external manifestation. Anything which looks good, we drool over it, we come back. How many of us make impulse purchase and then regret it? How many of us actually go back and spend some money which we say, yes, pe mere ko kharcha nahi karna chahiye, because it inherently looks in terms of saying, ye emotion mera abhi satisfy ho raha hai. Instant gratification. So that can be controlled, where you can take a quick look and practice the pause in terms of what you need to do. Okay. So when you have a state of balances, you have birth of different consciousness, which is what the sutra thinks, which allows you to actually become a witness. Those of you who have been practicing any form of breathing or any form of exercise, that basically helps you to become a witness. Any type of meditation that they talk about, it is not force. You sit back and just close your eyes. It's like a movie running in front of your eyes. You're just being a witness. You're not attaching any meaning to it. Just close your eyes and say, okay, this is coming, theek hai, aane do. Then the entire thing in terms of the influence, and how can you come out of this entire thing in terms of the witness part of it, the managing the tensions, managing the emotions, managing different consciousness. Okay. And the most quoted example of the stillness of the mind being disturbed. Okay, when there's a ripple in a lake. You don't see the entire picture. Okay, look at the left picture and the right picture. And you look at the right part of it, and you look at the entire scenario, you have a nice, calm feeling. All right. You can see the clouds, you can see the sun, you can see the trees, you can see the mountains. It's the same thing. And you remove the layers in the minds which have been crossed over a period of time by belief systems, and drossing over, putting layers of judgment on it. All those things go away by doing the yoga part of it here. In terms of what we talked about, I think the previous topic also talked in terms of saying, okay, how do I be absolutely peaceful, and how do I go into a stage of being mindful and practicing mindfulness. Okay, so when you look in terms of this thing, this is what we call it as a calm mind, which is unexcited, which is resting, which is unstimulated. Very, very important. What is a calm mind? Unexcited, resting, and unstimulated. If you have some of your friend circle who have this habit of just being calm, cool, collected, or you look at Dhoni, everybody talks in terms of being a cool guy, but it's not that he doesn't get excited. It's not that he doesn't get frustrated, but he knows how to manage it. Okay, so in terms of saying, how do I get a resting mind? How do I find peace? How do I get a clarity of mind? How do I discover what is called as sattva? There are three different types of it: tamas, rajas, and sattva. The three gunas part of it, I'm not getting into that, but this is the beginning in terms of saying, from a world materialistic, action-oriented point of view, how do I become a contented, minimalistic, not materialistic kind of a person, which can be done with complete management of the mind, is what yoga is all about, right? So when you look in terms of saying the start of the yoga journey, all the restrictive conditions in terms of my mind, my energy, and my body is what we need to bring a complete balance put together. Okay. So in terms of the other thing which comes about when we are actually doing this, apart from breathing, the area that I think the previous speaker also spoke about is to how to balance and harness the energy. Everybody has been given some amount of energy. How do we harness it? How do we realize the consciousness? How do you free ourselves from the conditioning of the world? If you look at all the Gurujis, all the schools which are teaching all of these things, the first thing that they say is, usko chhodiye, come back, be a witness, learn to take care of the witness of your thoughts, see how you can manage the entire thing. Okay, from a start from the yoga journey, the complete overcoming of the restriction, conditioning of the lives in terms of mind, energy, and body, a system was developed. What was the system? This system, it goes beyond the range of attractions, beyond Maya. Harnessing that energy is what is yoga all about in terms of saying how it's come about, what are the kind of which there, where you have what is called as a complete package. We have a physical practices, we have mental practices, or it can be called as a toolbox where we have all of these tools depending on the condition that you are actually attacking. So you have the entire thing in terms of saying the faculties of energy, faculties of energy, faculties of expressions that you have in terms of the physical and the mental practices. And one of the things which actually yoga starts to actually teach you is to move from all the gross elements from the outward to an inner journey. Andar jhaak ke dekhe. We are able to look at all the external because we have senses to see. How do you look at yourself inward? Yoga, in terms of how it actually helps you come to inward, giving my own example is, once you are in the corporate, you're in the hyper area, you talk about a lot of things, you want to achieve oriented, you're going to be motivated, you're ambitious in terms of this thing, everything is fine. But at the end of the day, you sit back and say, what have I achieved? What is this leading to? Is it money? At the end of it, you're not satisfied. You're in a constant state of race, endless race. How do you sit back and say, bas, main itna se hi khush raha? Very, very important thing to do. And some point of time, there's a trigger. Listen to the body, listen to the trigger. That entire characteristic would come about and say, stop, chhodiye. Now you leave this, automatically things come back. A little difficult journey for people to start in terms of how it happens. But once you take care of your finances, which is the root cause of the entire problems, and then you actually go into it, you actually move from the gross to the subtle, and the energy and the vibe that you send out actually start attracting you to the right people. The people who are not going to be there in your circuit slowly move away. So the key thing which happens when you keep practicing yoga from all of these small tools which is available, we're not getting into that. But in terms of saying, okay, how does it integrate the faculties of the qualities of the head, the heart, and the hand, the 3H? The combination of head, heart, and hands put together start the entire yoga journey. Okay? Mind, heart, and hands. How do you use the hands to actually achieve this? Okay, so from a attachment, anxiety, grief, tension point of view, which is dissipated, okay, and fear oriented, how you actually move to a selfless way where the mind is balanced, which is harmonious, which gives the rise to true experience. How many times do you see somebody actually, when you're actually fine-tuned and you look at it, somebody actually playing a mask, having a mask, doing something which they are not inherently qualified to do so. Okay, or inherently trying to say these are the kind of things which are there for me, but the expressions give it away. So from an unharmonious, dissipated way, how do you go to a harmonious and selfless way? Everybody also talks in terms of giving. How do I give back? How do I do in such a way that my entire thing is appreciated, gifted away? Same thing. The foundation in terms of the intellect, emotions, spiritual aspirations, and integration put together, yoga integrates the entire qualities of head, the heart, and hands. The new perspective, when you look at it, everybody would say join. Join what? Okay, join how? The elements of head, heart, and hands join together. It leads you into this. Okay, all the faculties integrated. Then you look in terms of saying, okay, when you're looking in terms of levels, so there's unfulfilled expectations, unfulfilled desire, there's discontentment, there's in terms of a somatopsychic, which is the body, and the psychosomatic. And most of the times when you're looking at any of the health issues in terms of how it is coming about today, is completely psycho, which is the mind, and soma, which is the body. Anything that you take today from a health point of view, this is where it actually affects the inherent inbuilt biases, childhood traumas, the negativity, the jealousy which is there. It all manifests in some way, which leads to all the lifestyle diseases that is listed: high blood pressure, ulcer, hernia, asthma. Okay, so in terms of the way, if you look at it, all the things on the left side talks in terms of restlessness in thoughts, restlessness in desires, restlessness in the senses, the mind, the emotions, and the sense objects. Right? So combining together is all the means to remove the limiting conditionings of life, touching the body, the hand, and then take it ahead. Right? From that point of view is what yoga is all about. When you're looking in terms of the progression of yoga, you're looking in terms of the 4 elements. How do you practice? What is the meaning of sadhana? How does it impact your life? How is the culture of yoga? How do you bring about what is called as the yogic culture inside? All the 4 elements which we talk in terms of the earlier part of taking care of all the restlessness and getting into this is here. What we are seeing are the tools. Sit back, keep the eyes closed, watch your breath. How does it impact? This is how it impacts. So how do you actually look in terms of the practice? Okay. So when we're looking in terms of the first thing, okay, and it's important to understand is we are all at the early stages of yoga, or what is called as we're all practitioners of yoga. Okay, so for example, what is the meaning of practitioners yoga? We'll say you go to a typical class, you do some asana, you do some relaxation, you do some meditation, and we come back and they humne 1 ghanta yoga kiya. Okay, now what we are saying in all this thing, it is good, but you only practice yoga, which is basically to feel good, you become more flexible, get rid of stiffness. These are all the things which are symptoms which you want to get rid of when you do the practice part of it. Okay. Why do you go to yoga class? You get because of curiosity. Sometimes you feel stressed. Sometimes you have physical complications. The doctors describes and says, "Aapka ye issue hai, yoga kariye, automatically nikal jayega." Okay, and you're doing all of this thing to suit your need. Very important to understand. You have a problem. You want to suit your need. You want to get rid of the need, satisfy the need. You're doing yoga to experience the entire thing, but you're not becoming a sadhak. What is the meaning of sadhak? Okay, when you are actually practicing yoga for a long time, you become a sadhak. When you look at sadhak, you understand, appreciate, and experience all the elements of yoga. For example, somebody keeps asking or looking in terms of saying, okay, how do I understand, appreciate, and experience yoga? A very classic example of somebody asked Usain Bolt, why do you charge so much? Okay, so Usain Bolt had a very nice answer. He said, I have actually practiced that for the next 13 years, which I actually ran in that and practiced every single day. You're paying me not for that 1 minute that I ran, but for all the 13 years that I actually struggled to get to that. Okay, so that is the meaning of sustained, systematic practice daily and day out, day in and day out. That is when you become the sadhak part of it, and you look at the full depth of yoga. Okay, what does it mean? You pick up one thing and master it. Okay, absorb, understand the process, and develop. For example, if you feel, look, I need to be absolutely perfect in the way I do my entire ways in which I stand. For example, the basics of yoga we call it as samasta sthiti. You actually stand with the hands like this, and looks very easy. It's one of the most difficult things to do. And the important thing to remember is when you're focusing on the basics, you focus only on the basics. You stand like this, stand, keep on practicing. It's the same thing like cooking. You are at it day in and day out, a variation here and there, but the taste differs. The processes are, and they develop the right mentality of getting into it. Okay, so what are the, let's say, prescribed purpose of yoga? There are different types of yoga. You have Bhakti Yoga, you have Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga is more action-oriented and more popular. So what does it mean? Okay, in Kriya Yoga, we have something which is called as the Kundalini, which is at the base. So the coiled thing which lies at the base. And that is where the energy centers are stored. If you practice Kriya Yoga daily in and out with the sole purpose that mereko Kundalini Jagran karna hai, it takes years and years of practice before you actually feel from the base going to the top, all the 7 chakras, and then it moves up. Okay, how do you awaken the Kundalini? How it goes on awakening? This is the meaning of sadhana. Sadhana is sustained practice at one level, one thing, and master it. For example, when you have this bhajan kirtan, you have one person who would sing it so nicely. Anytime he sings that bhajan and kirtan, you say, "Aap phir se wahi kari." He has been at it and he's mastered the same thing. That is the meaning of the sadhana. So you practice, then you become a sadhak. From the sadhak point of view, you have sadhana. The practice and the sadhana actually changes your lifestyle. For example, if you look at it and you look at your cupboard, and there's a lot of things today going on in terms of how do I become minimalist. There's a lady in Japan who become very famous for propagating this theory of wellness for minimalism. So when you look at it and say, "Mereko itna chahiye kya?" No, just eliminate. Then you say, I'm eliminating this, mereko nahi chahiye. I can do with 2-3 shirts, 2-3 trousers. I'm very happy with it. Okay. So the practice, the sadhana part of it leads to the third aspect, which is your stride, which is your lifestyle. So what are the yogic principles? The yogic principles is how do you speak? Aapki vaani kaisi hai? How do you actually look? How do you not react? One of the biggest influences that I have seen personally when you're actually practicing yoga for a long time with the blessings of the Guru is you actually becoming non-judgmental. You are able to acquire a lot of knowledge in a shorter period of time. You're able to look in terms of saying, do I need to really respond to this? Or do I quickly jump into it from a reaction point of view? From a reaction to a response point of view, how do I do all the interactions which are there. And here is where, when you're actually going into it, the guru helps you. When we are taking certain sessions, and we've done a great job out of it. It's happened to me a number of times. Your Guruji is standing on me or sitting on the other side as a simple sadhak. You just put up his hand, just say one word: ego, come karo. Ego, come karo. You're not doing it. You're being taught. The conduit is you. The message is from the Almighty above. You are just the person who's a disciple who's delivering it to you. The other people who are going to learn from you. Okay, you become more disciplined. You become more positive, and you become more awakened. And this is not a simple step journey, and this is not very esoteric. This is a very well defined way of doing. And once you're at it, and you keep mastering it, your lifestyle changes, your behavior changes. You look at some of the gurus who have come. Some of them are so well read, articulate in terms of this thing. You listen to Gaur Gopal Das or listen to Jaggi Vasudev. You see all those elements which they have actually done. They've gone deep into it. Anything that you throw at them, they have an answer. If they don't have an answer, they'll just sit back and say, hold on, I will mull at it and come back to you in terms of how you go across. So by changing your lifestyle in terms of helping yourself, your family, society, nation, and the world, the entire thing changes. And this is the basis of what we talk today in terms of the Vasudeva Kutumba, the entire lifestyle where everything is united. You're helping yourself. Once you help yourself, you help your family. The family help the society help the nation and the entire world. And the world today is looking at India in a bigger way in terms of saying, let it lead. Non-violence, absorbing the culture, being minimalistic, responding, not reacting. See how it is. The entire lifestyle changes. Okay, you practice, you become a sadhak, practice sadhana part of it, your lifestyle changes, then it sets into your culture. And this is where the back end part of it, you have these three gunas which start coming in: tamas, the rajas, and the sattvic. Sattvic is what we all aim towards it, but somewhere along the entire thing in terms of earning of money, earning of bread, providing for the family, for the well-being of us, okay, it becomes more rajasic. It's very action-oriented. So moving it from, let's say, the rajasic area or the tamasic is where people are very disillusioned. They get into deep depression and say, "Ye mere saath hi kyun ho raha hai?" The mind starts moving in a very, very different way. The tamasic part of it, that's where you have depression, sadness, see how it is going, and then you get into it as a lifestyle. That's where you see a mushrooming of counselors. You see well-meaning, well-intentioned people in terms of what they want to talk to you about are taking care of your lifestyle. So if you're getting this yogic principle of what we talked about earlier, you get a lifestyle and you get a culture. Okay? The yogic principles becomes part of your behavior, and this behavior is the way you behave yourself is part of your yogic culture. Okay, and yoga is progressively seen in terms of how it can be useful in the long run of life. Yoga is very boring. It is repetitively boring, but it has long-term impact in terms of how you've seen, how it affects your mind, how it affects your body, how it affects your brain, how it affects your hands. All of these things put together and then go. And it's not like a culture in terms of saying, okay, 1 ghanta humne practice kar liya kiya, uske baad kya? All of us, when we actually do a particular session, sit back and play what is called the different roles. Okay, you're a father today, sit back, pay gratitude, do affirmations, do the good for the society, wherever you can contribute in terms of giving, give. A lot of people have this inhibition saying, "Main sab kuch deta hu, to mere liye kya hai?" The more you give, personally speaking, you give it free and give it in terms of whatever happens, always comes back to you. उनसे नहीं, कहीं से ना कहीं से आते जाता. For example, when I took a break in terms of completely moving away from the corporate, for 1 year we didn't know what was happening. But then when you started and you have very firm belief that you're doing it correct, all the entrepreneurs today have something called the trigger. That trigger, it comes in, and once you start practicing, it becomes a part of you. Okay, and it's not a daily hours practice. It is a must, as good as breathing. That's what you actually do. And this culture, when it is there, it avoids all the temptations. You're able to control your senses. The sense gratification, the material gratification is gone. Then we take about how it entirely goes about it, right? So if you look in terms of what happens from a yoga point of view, you look in the last part of it. These are all the short-term things and immediate things in terms of what it happens. But as a lifestyle, okay, what is it that we can actually do from years together? Be at it, be a sadhak, practice the sadhana, see how it is. How many of us get relief when we do chanting? Part of it in terms of what happens, part of your lifestyle, it becomes. How many of us go to the temple every day and pray? Because that's where you're moving your entire thing and being at one place where it gives you peace of mind. These things can be cultured, becomes a part of the yogic culture in terms of what you practice, become a sadhak, and then you take it ahead. All right. And the benefits from a psychological point of view, the biochemical point of view, the physical point of view is well documented, scientifically researched, seen how it is and things like that. There are enough schools. If you are in and around Delhi, if you get to actually go to any of the yoga schools and practice some of these things, maybe just go and do all the research in terms of what is it that you're looking for in terms of the lifestyle changes. So all of these things can be addressed in terms of what happens. And this is a mind map that I've kept for this thing. I think will be shared by Dr. Amri in terms of the mind map, which I'm very fond of. To look at each of these elements and then add yoga to it. And once you add yoga to it, this is how it looks. Okay, see the impact in terms of all the areas. Kriya is nothing else but the way you actually cleanse. Okay, then you look in terms of the pranayama, which is the breath part of it. Then you look in terms of the entire thing, the elements of the body, the breath, the brains, all of these things put together. This is how it would be. Okay, I basically am not doing any of the practices right now, but this is the basis in which it actually goes. Okay, the different elements part of it put together, how the mind works, how does it actually take about doing all of these things is what I wanted to basically talk about. And thank you for giving this opportunity to talk about it. I hope it was useful. There are a lot of small takeaways. Maybe we can actually once more go through the presentation. It will give you a lot of insights. I'm always available in terms of having any doubts. You can reach out to Dr. Amri and then let me know. Okay. My special thanks to my Gurujis, Dr. Ganesh Rao, as well as Ambeji, who's been great influence in terms of what I have done and the small achievement that I have been able to make in my yogic journey. I've been a yoga sadhak practice for the last 10 years, and the transformation journey is something which you must feel. And once you move from a daily practicer to a sadhak and do the sadhana daily, the entire perspective on life changes. You attract. You don't have to make an effort to attract. People automatically come to you. You become a go-to person, which you all like to. This is what I wanted to say. And I think, like I said, I speak a little faster in terms of what happens in my management school. I've been able to convey this message in terms of 45 minutes. I wanted to keep 15 minutes for any questions which is there. Then we, Thank you so much again, Dr. Amri, Asian Institute of Management, and giving this opportunity for us to actually share our thoughts, little bit of wisdom that we have here and there, and then take it ahead. Over to you, Dr. Amri.
Thank you, sir. It was very enlightening and in-depth understanding of yoga. Actually, very few people understand that what yoga is, or they might just relate to the physical exercise or to losing weight. They won't. Many of the people, when I asked them they should join this, they said, "Asana to nahi karwayenge na." I said, no, you won't be doing any asana. It is just not asana. It is much more than that, and that's what you explained through your content, I should say. And it was very in-depth, and it included all those aspects of yoga in complete, not just the meditation, not just the asana, it is all body and mind. So at last, I would like to propose vote of thanks. And I would also like to share the appreciation certificates for our speaker. Just this.
नमस्कार सर, बहुत ही ज्ञानवर्धक प्रेजेंटेशन था, बहुत आभार आपका।
थैंक यू सो मच। मैं भी हिंदी बहुत शुद्ध बोल लेता हूँ। आई हैव बीन रेस्ड इन डिफरेंट प्लेसेस। मैं काफी ट्रैवल करी है मैंने, और हिंदी अच्छी से जानता हूँ। दो आई एम अ साउथ इंडियन तमिलियन, बट नॉर्थ में काफी रहे हैं। शुद्ध हिंदी बोल सकते हैं, शुद्ध हिंदी समझ सकते हैं, तो अच्छा है। थैंक यू। आपकी जो प्रैक्टिस थी हम करते हैं, बट लॉन्गर रेंजेस में। अभी हम न्यूआंसेस ऑफ ध्यान पे जा रहे हैं। ध्यान में आपको आगे क्या करना चाहिए, ध्यान में क्या क्या होता है, ध्यान से प्रत्याहार, प्रत्याहार से इनवर्ड कैसे जाना है, वो जर्नी पे है। गुरु जी ने बोला अभी
Are
आप
you
रेडी?
able to see the screen, sir? Is it visible? Anything on the screen?
No, Dr. Amri.
Okay.
You can take the screen share.
Yeah, actually we are doing. We'll share it.
Amri was scared that I have so much slides. And I said, don't worry, I will cover it. I will cover it much ahead. So I knew what was the thing that I wanted to talk about. I also been very blessed by a lot of good teachers, good mentors along the way. As we keep along, we've always been guided by some of the best in terms of your career, in terms of how to go from one journey to the other. It's a big risk to take when you suddenly say, boss, मेरे को corporate नहीं जम रहा. Just leave it. A lot of people in the IT have done it. If you look at some of the best, let's say, institute which are running today in terms of the overall level, a lot of IT guys. And actually, we are now moving it in terms of saying, how do we get all these knowledge put together in a common platform? वो हमारा बड़ा dream है. I mean, if we have, let's say, a simple thing like a desire, what does Patanjali Yoga say? What does this Guru say? What does this Upanishad say? What does the Vedas say? All of these things together एक platform में कहीं पे भी नहीं है. हमारा काम उस पे चालू है.
जी, ये तो बहुत ही अच्छी बात है अगर इस तरह का कोई प्रक्रिया और इस तरह का काम हो रहा है तो मुझे लगता है कि अगर हम एक चीज को भी साध लें जीवन में, अगर एक भी आई एम आल्सो आई फील ब्लेस्ड टू हैव ग्रेट गुरुज इन माय लाइफ सिंस वेरी यंग एज, तो मुझे लगता है कि छोटी चीज को भी साध लें क्योंकि इतना वास्ट है हमारे शास्त्र, हमारे वेद, इतना ज्ञान है सनातन धर्म में, तो एक भी चीज को पकड़ के साध लें तो भी जीवन की सार्थकता हो जाती है.
ये सब सिखाना चाहिए स्कूल में. आई एम वेरी सरप्राइज हम लोग नहीं सिखाते. वेदास सिखाना चाहिए, वेदांता सिखाना चाहिए. भागवतम में कितना डेप्थ है, भगवत गीता और भागवतम में जो ओरल जो है उसमें कितना डेप्थ है. इन तमिल देयर इज अ तिरुकुल, वो पूरे स्क्रिप्चर्स को तमिल में एक्सप्लेन किया. लॉट ऑफ पीपल हैव टेकन द एफर्ट टू ट्रांसलेट इट इन टर्म्स ऑफ कहाँ पे क्या क्या है. वैदिक स्क्रिप्चर्स बहुत ही पावरफुल है. एंड टू थिंक दैट दिस वाज रिटन बिलियंस ऑफ इयर्स अगो, सो मेनी इयर्स अगो. अमेजिंग.
अब हमारे ऋषि मुनि एस्ट्रोफिजिक्स जानते थे जब टेलीस्कोप या कोई भी चीज एग्जिस्ट नहीं करती थी, तो वशिष्ठ और अरुंधति का मूवमेंट उन्होंने बता दिया कि दो ऐसे ग्रह हैं जो कि एक दूसरे के आसपास मूव करते हैं, दे रिवॉल्व अराउंड ईच अदर. तो वो कैसे वहां तक पहुंचे? तो कोई तो उनमें ऐसी शक्ति होगी, ऐसी ध्यान की उनकी, ऐसा ज्ञान होगा कि they went there, they saw that Arundhati and Vashisht are two planets which revolve around each other. तो मुझे लगता है कि सारा ज्ञान सब कुछ यहीं पे है. और अब पीढ़ी, मुझे ऐसा फील होता है बिकॉज जो मेरा क्लाइंटेल है स्टूडेंट्स का, आई हैव लॉट ऑफ यूथ्स who really want to learn and understand and find their purpose. Also, I have students from medical profession, apparently one of the profession which is highly stressed. So
very highly stressed.
Very highly stressed. So it is good to, see such people from such professions coming and understanding and learning these things.
That's what Guruji says, heal the healer. Heal the healer.
Heal the healer. Very rightly said.
I hope you are able to see the screen.
We can see the slide, the last slide of sir.
Okay, I think there is just a certain issue over there.
Doesn't matter, Dr. Amri. आप भेज दीजिए, चलेगा. No problems.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So no hurry. ये तो करते रहेंगे.
I would request all the participants to just give a great round of applause for our speakers. And I would like to thank you, propose my word of thanks. And thank you is such a prayer that cannot be seen or touched. It must be felt by heart. I feel honored and privileged to get the opportunity to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of the Institute on this special occasion. Actually, the both our speakers were so it was so insight, and the perspective were so truly valuable for and they were all thoroughly engaged by you, all the participants, and it was a pleasure to have you with us. And I hope you also enjoyed this experience of being part of this seminar, this webinar. And personally, I would like to thank Ms. Tomar, as I know that she was going through a tough time, and despite of the commitment, she was here with us today. And I really appreciate that, that despite of all those things which is going in your own, she lost one of her closed one yesterday, and still she is with us today taking the session. This is all the commitment with which is needed actually these days. And thank you, Balas, of being so much tightly scheduled on the yoga day itself, and you
It's okay.
accepted it. So I'm really thankful to both of you. I would also like to thank the chairman of the Asia Pacific Institute of Management, Sri A.K. Srivastav, for giving such a wonderful platform where we all can unite and contribute. We have been fortunate enough to be backed, supported, and guided by our director, sir, who believe in hand holding. And I thank him wholeheartedly for motivating us to organize such event. I would also thank Dr. Harshit Sinha and Dr. Shipra Jha for being the pillars on whom we can rely upon. And when it comes to webinar session, it is the IT team and technical support without which it cannot conduct it successfully. I pay my sincere gratitude to all the IT and digital team, Nitin sir, Jeevan sir, Rawat sir, and also the supporting staff. At last, I thank all the participants without whom this cannot be a success. So I thank you all and hope we can meet again. Thank you. कर दिया, done.